Chapter 1056. Fang Yuan undergoes tribulation for fifths. It is only my first earthly calamity, but there are so many desolate beast snow monsters, and even an ancient ruined bat. Fang Yuan looked up with a bitter expression. The ancient ruined bat was huge. It cast a shadow that loomed over Fang Yuan and countless snow monsters. At once, the blizzard weakened. The snow monsters stopped making cries and roars. They looked up at this ferocious beast in the sky. Before leaving Langya Blessed Land, I had already used luck path killer moves to increase my luck. Since the tribulation, I have been using dogshit luck immortal goo continuously. My luck should have reduced the might of the earthly calamity already. Even so, this earthly calamity is still so incredibly powerful. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth, focusing his mind again. The ancient ruined bat flew in the sky. Its body was huge like a mountain, crashing down on Fang Yuan. At once, aura was bursting out. The air was compressed as a strong pressure could be felt. Sword path killer move. Triple layered sword wave. Fang Yuan had no way to retreat. He could only face it and use the third sword path killer move. Rumble, a loud sound. The sword waves around him started moving around. They rumbled as ripples appeared. These waves were shining with a silvery white light. They were extremely sharp and had incredible offensive power. The waves moved upwards in defiance of gravity, splitting apart in the air as multiple gigantic waves crashed at the ancient ruined bat. The ruined bat did not make a sound. It smashed these waves. Fang Yuan pushed with a hand. Swoosh. Another huge wave was summoned. This wave was larger than the first one. It filled the entire surroundings. There were many ripples at the edge of the wave. They were shining and emitting a dangerous aura. Wherever the sword waves went, everything was cleansed, the blizzard was wiped out, and even air shattered. Evidently, this was an area of effect attacked. It used the rank 7 wave sword immortal goo as the core, along with several water path immortal goo which were borrowed from Langya Land Spirit by Fang Yuan. The second sword wave crashed into the ruined bat. The ruined bat, which was flying down, stopped, moving for a moment. At the same time, it screeched out in pain. The sword wave did not last long. After it receded, Fang Yuan could see that there were deep marks left by swords on the ancient ruined bat. In normal situations, ruined bats would avoid danger and would retreat when they encountered danger that threatened their lives. But this ancient ruined bat was not a normal specimen. It was formed from the earthly calamity. After getting injured, it did not rest. It charged at Fang Yuan relentlessly. The ruined bat was a space path beast. Facing it, Fang Yuan's sword escape immortal goo had little effect, because the space around Fang Yuan was affected by the ruined bat's strength. 1 or 2 steps would take several hundred steps to travel in reality. Simply dodging was a terrible idea. Even though the ruined bat flew slowly, its space path powers also restricted Fang Yuan's speed. The only way to resist was by eliminating the enemy, using offense against offense. That was the best plan. Thankfully, triple layered sword wave could unleash 3 sword waves. Its might grew with each wave. The third wave. The sword wave was 10 meters tall. It crashed towards the ancient ruined bat with immense might. The sound of the moving wave filled the world. The ripples were sharp with sword light. Even Fang Yuan, who was the user, felt his body shuddering, a feeling of chilliness inside him. Boom! The sword wave and the ruined bat collided. The ancient ruined bat's charge halted. It raised its head and cried out in utter pain. The sword wave struck at its stomach. The wounds from earlier were hit again. Its injuries were deepening. Finally, when the wave was about to run out of water, it pierced through the ancient ruined bat's back. Poof! With a loud sound, a large amount of flesh and blood fell from the ancient ruined bat's body. After being cut by the third sword wave, the ancient ruined bat slimmed down. Its huge body became much smaller. The gigantic mountain which emitted an immense pressure had been lifted. Fang Yuan felt his entire body relaxing. The space path power that was restricting him earlier had vanished. The heavily injured ancient ruined bat crashed to the ground. After floating around like a kite with its strings cut, with a huge sound, snow and ice were sent flying on impact. I killed it. Fang Yuan was joyous, but his expression suddenly changed. A huge amount of true meaning entered his mind, like a waterfall from the 9 heavens. This true meaning far surpassed the total gains from earlier in an instant. Fang Yuan's state of mind was scattered. Fang Yuan forgot himself. He was like a ruined bat, from birth to growing up, until his death. Flying in the sky, he tore through space, traveling freely in the huge world. After a momentary daze, Fang Yuan jolted to awareness. His eyes, which were unfocused, gave off a sharp light. It seems that too much true meaning would be like a snake swallowing an elephant. I would overeat and have a risk of dying from bursting my stomach. Realizing this, cold sweat dripped from Fang Yuan's forehead. Reckless savage's true meaning was good. It was the fastest way to raise one's attainment level, but there was a limit to everything in the world. Too much of a good thing would lead to harm. With too much of reckless savage's true meaning, the Gu Immortal's consciousness would be destroyed. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had a Wisdom Path foundation and had defensive Wisdom Path Immortal Gu that he borrowed from Lang Spirit. Otherwise, Fang Yuan's consciousness would be destroyed by the true meaning. After losing his senses, he might think he was truly a ruined bat that had died in the earthly calamity. I have little immortal essence left. Thankfully, the ancient ruined bat is already dead. Fang Yuan floated in the sky, looking down. After the ruined bat's corpse landed on the ground, it turned into snow, breaking apart. But there were 100 desolate beast snow monsters on the ground, along with an uncountable number of small snow monsters. 70 feet tall ancient desolate beast snow monsters were starting to appear. Damn it. It has only been such a short time. Seeing this, Fang Yuan felt terrible. He felt a strong sense of helplessness towards such a huge group of enemies. To clear up these snow monsters, I will need to borrow immortal essence stones from Lang Spirit. Fang Yuan was not willing to do it. He had already repaid the debt he owed to Lang Spirit. But now he had no choice but to borrow again. The blizzard which had weakened was getting stronger again. The palm-sized snowflakes flew down from the sky. Raging winds rampaged wildly. Two ancient ruined bats started to form in the blizzard. Fang Yuan's body shook. His expression was ashen as he cursed internally. I might as well die. What sort of earthly calamity is this? Even heavenly tribulations are not this terrifying. This was, of course, just a complaint to vent his emotions. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth. He shot out like an arrow, taking the initiative to attack. The ancient ruined bat earlier had almost killed him already. If two appeared at the same time and attacked Fang Yuan, he could not win. The earthly calamity's power was starting to decline. It was going to end. These two ancient ruined bats formed slowly. It could not compare to earlier. Fang Yuan wanted to attack before these two ancient ruined bats finished forming. But at this time, a new blizzard started to fall from the sky. Several huge snowballs were directed towards him. They were like horse carriages. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had quasi-grandmaster flying. Attainment, he dodged in time and was not hit. Fang Yuan took a look. The perpetrators were the snow monsters on the ground. After the nurturing of the blizzard, the ancient snow monsters had increased in numbers, growing rapidly. Earlier there were only a few, now there were 28 of them. These ancient snow monsters clenched their fists as snowballs formed. After growling, they stretched their hands as the horse carriage-like snowballs shot up like meteors towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's heart sank to rock bottom. These two ancient ruined bats were hard to deal with, and with these snowballs obstructing his movement, his plan would be delayed. By the time these two ancient ruined bats formed, Fang Yuan would fail this tribulation for sure. Just as Fang Yuan was in a dangerous situation while undergoing tribulation in his immortal aperture, someone else was also undergoing tribulation in the icy plane. This was a Gu Master's immortal ascension. The heaven and earth chi was turning into the tribulation. Master, save me. The Gu Master cried out. Facing the attack of the frost lightning, he could not retaliate. He could only watch as death descended. Bam! A soft sound echoed to the crucial moment. A figure stood in front of the Gu Master undergoing tribulation. The frost lightning that was unstoppable against the Gu Master was fragile as paper in front of this person. The frost lightning appeared and disappeared just as quickly. It was useless. It could not even touch that person's clothing. Master's cultivation level is so high. The Gu Master sighed. Ever since the tribulation started, he had been sighing and feeling shocked. He was almost numb now. This is only the flying frost jumping lightning tribulation. It is not even one of the 10 great catastrophes. Gu immortal Chu Du was expressionless. He felt regret looking at the lingering frost lightning. Master, from your words, you are not happy with the intensity of the tribulation? The Gu master asked. Chu Du answered plainly. When Gu masters ascend, they draw in heaven and earth chi. During this process, they would mingle with heaven's will. If they ask any questions regarding cultivation, heaven's will would give them an answer. This is also known as natural inspiration. But in the northern icy plane, when strength path Gu masters undergo immortal ascension, they would trigger reckless savage's true meaning. Because of this, the Gu master does not interact with heaven's will. Instead, they will mingle with reckless savage's true meaning, and their strength path and transformation path attainment levels will rise sharply. The stronger the tribulation, the higher the quantity of reckless savage's true meaning gathered. I nurtured all of you disciples because I want the true meaning of reckless savage during your ascension. Obtaining the true meaning would allow my strength path attainment level to rise. So that's it. The Gu master realized. So this is what master meant regarding the need for my help when you made me your disciple back then. Chu Du was about to speak when a huge sound from a great distance was heard. Chu Du looked. He saw that far away. Space was cracked, like a broken mirror. The scene of Fang Yuan fighting with the ancient ruin bats in his immortal aperture could be seen. This? Chu Du's body shook. His eyes were shining immediately. Chapter 1057. Fang Yuan undergoes tribulation, 5/5. Chu Du, known as Domination Immortal, a legendary person in Northern Plains Gu immortal world. He was born in a poor family. He was not of the Huang Jin bloodline. He had a lowly start. Even his aperture awakening was by chance. Without any teachers or tribesmen to help him, he cultivated alone. He cultivated strength path, but was not restrained by the flaws of it. With his overwhelming talent, he independently created Jin Strength Gu, Strength of 10 Jin Gu, Jun Strength Gu, Strength of 10 Jun Gu, and others. Using these Gu worms, he grew step by step. Under everyone's shocked gazes, he turned from a mortal to an immortal. But this was not the end of his legend. When he became a Gu immortal, he went back to his roots and created the human Jun Strength branch. This small branch gave the dying strength path a surge of rejuvenation. It was as if vitality had filled dying trees. Strength path shined again in a different light. After the beast strength phantom branch and atmospheric heaven and earth branch, it was recognized by everyone that strength path had a new human Jun Strength branch. With his efforts alone, he changed the future of strength path. Nobody could deny his grand achievement. Now, 9 out of 10 Northern Plains Gu masters cultivated strength path on the side. They mostly used the human Jun Strength branch. Destiny was a mystical thing. Nobody could decipher it.be it Chu Du or Fang Yuan. They had never thought that they would meet in such a situation. Fang Yuan was undergoing tribulation. Because of the ancient ruin bat's power, his immortal aperture's walls were shattered, connecting to the outside world. And Chu Du was assisting his disciple in his immortal ascension tribulation, absorbing the true meaning of reckless savage. The northern icy plain was so huge, but these two people chose their tribulation location so closely. Both of their eyes made contact over the distance in an instant. Chu Du had just destroyed his disciple's tribulation. One of his hands was behind his back, while the other was toying with the frost lightning. He was calm and composed. Fang Yuan was wearing a white robe. He had a sharp gaze. His body was injured. Battle intent rose in him like he was a divine sword. The sharpness in him made even Chu Du frown. Someone is undergoing tribulation here. What is going on? The ancient ruin bat inside has reckless savage's true meaning. It manifested using the tribulation. This person has such an amazing method. He can replicate the immortal ascension and obtain reckless savage's true meaning to improve himself. Chu Du felt immense shock before it turned into joy. Domination, immortal Chu Du. Fang Yuan was shocked. This person is helping another person with his tribulation. He must be after reckless savage's true meaning. Oh no, he saw what is going on here. He will definitely seek me. Fang Yuan had obtained the killer move Immortal Tribulation Tempering Aperture from Land Spirit. This was a huge attraction to Domination Immortal Chu Du. As long as I can get his method, Why would I need to bother with raising disciples for immortal ascension? I can undergo tribulations myself and draw in reckless savages' true meaning. The tribulations would be stronger, and I would obtain even more true meaning. That would be best. I must get this method. Chu Du screamed in his mind. He shot towards Fang Yuan like a flash of lightning, but he was known as the Domination Immortal. In the past, when he was rank 6, an experienced lone immortal came to find trouble with him and was beaten to a pulp. The lone immortal called for reinforcements, but the 3 lone immortals were chased by the newly ascended Chu Du. He chased them for an enormous distance before killing all 3 immortals that 100 years later. Chu Du and a Gu immortal of Lu tribe had a conflict. After a dozen rounds of fighting, the Lu tribe Gu immortal lost and begged him for mercy, but Chu Du killed him without hesitation. Next, Lu tribe sent out several Gu immortals. Chu Du's 2 fists could not rival 4 palms. He was outnumbered. He went into seclusion for decades. When he appeared again, he had rank 7 cultivation level. He went around and destroyed 18 of Lu tribe's resource points in 3 days. 3 of Lu tribe's Gu immortals chased after him, but he did not run away. Instead, he forced the 3 Lu tribe Gu immortals to retreat and even nearly attacked their headquarters. Chu Du encircled Lu tribe's blessed land and refused to leave. Lu tribe's first supreme elder emerged outside in anger, fighting with Chu Du for a long time. He was an experienced rank 7 expert, but he could not do anything to Chu Du. He could only let him leave freely. After this battle, Chu Du's reputation surged. The entire Gu immortal world found out about his domineering style. No Gu immortal dared to look down on him. Those who tried to find trouble with him had to consider it thoroughly before acting. But after this battle, Chu Du became very low profile. He cultivated in seclusion and rarely showed himself. It was only during the recent Northern Plains auction that he appeared in front of everyone. Now, it seemed that in the past, Chu Du gained a huge growth in strength and defeated Lu tribe because of reckless savage's true meaning. He nurtured a few Gu masters and helped them to ascend to immortal. His strength path attainment level reached grandmaster level, and he created his own immortal killer moves. When the time was ripe, he took advantage of Lu tribe's temporary weakness and challenged them. He not only took revenge for himself, he even created a fierce reputation. These last years, he had been secluded, staying inside the northern icy plain, trying to excavate the huge treasure known as reckless savage's true meaning. Chu Du saw Fang Yuan. He not only wanted Fang Yuan's method of drawing out reckless savage's true meaning, he even had a feeling of unhappiness because his treasure was being taken by others. Thus, he did not think too deeply. He attacked directly. He wanted to take down Fang Yuan and interrogate the method to lure out reckless savage's true meaning. Though the distance was great, it was nothing to Gu immortals. Their distance was shrinking rapidly. Chu Du stretched out his right hand, pointing at Fang Yuan, who was in the immortal aperture, but a sword light shot at him first that he reacted quickly. But Fang Yuan was even faster. Almost at the first instant, Fang Yuan used sword marks targeting death and shot out flying sword immortal Gu. Flying sword pierced through the sky, shining in bright silvery light. Chu Du could not look at it directly. Chu Du chuckled. He stretched out his right arm, grabbing at flying sword. Boom! An explosion caused the air to burst. A huge strength path phantom in the form of Chu Du's right hand squeezed the air. It was like a rampaging mountain, moving quickly and grabbing flying sword immortal Gu. Surprise flashed across Fang Yuan's eyes. Chu Du's strength path phantom hand was very similar to his giant hand. But evidently, his strength path giant hand was not only stronger than Fang Yuan's, it was even more agile. Chu Du's strength path giant hand moved together with his actual right hand. After grabbing flying sword immortal Gu, Chu Du clenched his fist and directly sealed flying sword immortal Gu. Fang Yuan instantly felt that his connection to flying sword immortal Gu weakened severely. Chu Du frowned in an unnoticeable manner. He opened his clenched fist. He saw a trace of blood at the center of his palm. It was the killer move sword marks targeting death's effect. Interesting, he commented lightly, while he said that the injury on his palm has already healed. Hand over the method, and I will spare your life. Chu Du proclaimed, but when he raised his head, his expression changed at the crucial moment. Fang Yuan chopped off the lower half of his body. He used a certain blood path killer move and refined his lower body into a pool of blood. The blood fused into the immortal aperture's gap and fixed the crack within space in an instant. Chu Du quickly used his strength path giant hand to attack, but it was a moment too late. He had lost his chance. The giant hand failed to hit anything. Like a crashing meteor, it landed on the ground and formed a huge crater of over dozens of meters wide. Chu Du flew to the spot where Fang Yuan placed his immortal aperture with a heavy expression. He did not have any method to break into the immortal aperture. Damn it! Why did I encounter domination immortal of all people? Inside the immortal aperture, Fang Yuan only was left with his upper body. He floated in the air. His injuries were severe. His lower body had already been refined and used. Intense pain did not affect Fang Yuan due to the use of goo worms. Faced with two ancient ruined bats, he kept his composure and calmness. I have to kill these two ruined bats as soon as possible. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth. His expression was ruthless. Triple-layered sword wave. He used this killer move consecutively. The waves crashed against the ancient ruined bats. Ugh! Fang Yuan's 7 orifices spurted blood. His head was dizzy. He was on the verge of fainting. His head was hurting. Triple-layered sword wave was a killer move that used many goo worms. It was not easy to activate. In order to use so many goo worms, he had used up all of the thoughts in his mind. His brain was in a state of overuse. And to protect his aperture walls, to prevent the ancient ruined bats from causing more destruction, Fang Yuan had to block all of the ancient ruined bats' attacks desperately. Seconds passed like years. Every time he blocked an ancient ruined bat's attack, Fang Yuan's vision turned dark. He was uncertain about his capability regarding blocking the next attack, that he could not think of anything else. All of his newly produced thoughts were used to mobilize all of the goo worms in his body. Both sides were like warriors in a death match. They attacked with sharp weapons and stabbed their opponents continuously. Whoever was unable to endure it would fall in defeat first. After an unknown period of time, a gust of wind blew. Clarity flashed in Fang Yuan's dazed eyes. Did I succeed? He looked up in the sky, at the falling ancient ruined bat as he muttered to himself. Soon, the thoughts in his mind replenished amply. He could finally think again. He finally killed one ancient ruined bat. There was still another left. Fang Yuan licked his dry lips. His face was pale as paper, but it showed a distorted expression as he charged towards the ancient ruined bat again. That it was much easier for him this time. Facing an ancient ruined bat alone, Fang Yuan felt much less pressure. The thoughts in his mind increased in number. He could think of more things. He could attack the ruined bat after making rational decisions in response. But he did not dare to relax. If another ancient ruined bat formed, it would be troublesome. Even worse was if domination immortal Chu Du was allowed to come in. If that happened, Fang Yuan's situation would be far worse. It might be even more terrifying than dying in the calamity. But eventually, the heaven and earth chi calmed, and Fang Yuan succeeded in killing the third ancient ruined bat. No more ruined bats formed, and Chu Du was absent. The calamity has ended. I finally survived this. Fang Yuan looked down weakly. This place had already turned into an icy field. Countless desolate beast snow monsters were staring at him, growling as they showed ruthless expressions. Thankfully, my immortal aperture is big enough. There are no resources in here yet. I will let these snow monsters stay for now. They cannot break the aperture walls. Fang Yuan flew up to the first layer of the heavens in the sky of his immortal aperture that he was severely injured. He needed to recuperate. While healing his injuries, he also needed to prepare for battle that if Chu Du invaded this place, it would no laughing matter. Chapter 1058, Blood Asset Immortal Goo. 3 days later, inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture was extremely huge. Its layout was like the 5 regions and 9 heavens. After Fang Yuan succeeded in passing the tribulation, he had been staying inside the first layer of the 9 heavens to heal this moment. He was at a crucial moment of healing his injuries. Fang Yuan was submerged hundreds of feet under a lake of blood which filled a wide surrounding range. He was gravely injured. It was a sad sight. His entire lower body was cut away. Only his upper body was in the lake of blood. The lake of blood was full of life force. It entered his huge injury continuously. After 3 days, a blood-colored silhouette could be vaguely seen in the form of his legs and lower body. Suddenly, Fang Yuan opened his eyes. His eyes were blood red. The moment he opened them, it was as if lightning shined deeply inside the dark lake of blood. Blood path body refinement. Restore my immortal body. Fang Yuan cried out in his mind. Countless thoughts were colliding. Tens of thousands of mortal goo were mobilized with thoughts. They shined with dazzling light. These mortal goo were placed in various parts of the blood lake. Once connected, the entire dark lake of blood shined in a bright red light. Gradually, the lights from these mortal goo fused into one. A rank 6 immortal goo emerged from Fang Yuan's body, floating upwards. This goo resembled a round pearl. It was as large as a goose egg. The pearl had countless markings on it that were moving around, like the blooming of a field of lotuses or the rumbling of clouds. Blood path immortal goo. Blood asset. This immortal goo was not one known to Fang Yuan. This was a goo innovated by the previous Lang land spirit. He had created this using blood path goo recipes he bought in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Blood asset immortal goo's effect was to protect a portion of the immortal materials or goo worms during refinement. If the refinement failed, some of these immortal materials or goo worms could be restored afterwards using blood asset immortal goo. Ever since he obtained this immortal goo, the previous Lang land spirit had saved a huge amount of resources. The previous land spirit treasured this immortal goo deeply. He would not exchange it no matter what. But after changing personalities, the new Lang land spirit most wanted to promote the rise of hairy men. He did not have much interest in goo refinement. When transacting with Fang Yuan, blood asset immortal goo fell into Fang Yuan's demonic clutches. Fang Yuan obtained it and did not outwardly express any emotions. But he was overjoyed internally. This goo could only be used in refinement path in the hands of ordinary goo immortals. But Fang Yuan was a blood path grandmaster. Not only could he display its full ability, he could also use it in a variety of ways that surpassed its original limits. Like now, blood asset immortal goo caused the entire lake of blood to boil, like a volcano that was ready to erupt with molten magma underneath. Goo. Large numbers of bubbles floated to the surface of the lake. Streams of life force gushed into blood asset immortal goo, like sparrows returning to their nests. Blood asset immortal goo floated above Fang Yuan's head. It rapidly rotated, like an inexhaustible black hole. It drew away all of the vitality in the lake of blood. Next, after purification, a stream of life force that could be seen with the naked eye, resembling translucent flowing water, poured into Fang Yuan's body. Crack. Fang Yuan's bones were cracking. It was a delightful sound. His withered flesh became enriched, inflating like a ball. The injuries on his skin vanished instantly. His long black hair grew out, covered in a layer of gloss. Most important was the huge injury on Fang Yuan's body. The translucent blood-colored silhouette of his lower body started to gain physical form under the injection of vitality. In the blink of an eye, Fang Yuan's heavy injuries healed. His flesh recovered, and he was whole again. Whoosh! Fang Yuan shot out of the lake of blood like an arrow, appearing in the air. His consciousness swept around the area as he nodded in satisfaction. This body, created by sovereign immortal fetus goo, is truly profound and mystical. I have Tao marks of every path, yet they don't interfere with each other. Because of this, I can use healing methods of any path and display their full effect. If not, how could I recover from this terrible injury in only 3 days? Fang Yuan stretched out his arm. Blood asset immortal goo shot out of the lake of blood like a meteor into Fang Yuan's hands. Holding this immortal goo in front of him, Fang Yuan took a look of appreciation before placing it on his chest. Blood asset immortal goo lived on Fang Yuan's body, at his chest area, turning into a red pearl tattoo. This type of storage was not safe. If Fang Yuan's body was destroyed, blood asset immortal goo would also face destruction. Immortal goo were extremely fragile. Even toddlers could kill rank 9 immortal gu. It was safest to keep it in the immortal aperture. But now, Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture was still in the outside world. He could only do this, but as long as he was careful, there would be no issue. In the 500 years of my previous life, I could not obtain a single blood path immortal goo even after a long search. I had no choice but to refine spring-autumn cicada. If I had this blood path immortal goo back then, I would have already achieved much more in life. Even if the 10 great ancient sects encircled me, I would be able to fight them confidently. Fang Yuan was not simply bragging. In his previous life, he had battle strength at the peak of rank 6. He had fought against 2 ordinary rank 7 Gu immortals and won. Even though there were many reasons for the outcomes, like the terrain and other coincidences, defeating a rank 7 as a rank 6 was truly an incredible feat. Of course, compared to Bo Qing and Feng Jiugu, this was a very ordinary achievement. But the important thing was, Fang Yuan defeated the rank 7 Gu immortals without any immortal Gu himself. He used Blood Path Mortal Gu and Mortal Killer moves to defeat such strong foes. During that time, Fang Yuan became an immortal using Blood Path. He not only created his own Blood Path Mortal Gu, he even designed many Blood Path Killer moves. They were either high in power, had mysterious effects, or were very bloodthirsty abilities. Fang Yuan's Blood Path attainment level was Grandmaster. He did not lack anything but a Blood Path Immortal Gu that if he had it, he could quickly modify his mortal killer moves into countless immortal killer moves. His battle strength would surge immensely. In his previous life, or even after rebirth, Fang Yuan did not obtain a single Blood Path Immortal Gu. After rebirth, he advanced rapidly, taking huge risks and facing great challenges. Because of all sorts of reasons, he did not obtain a single Blood Path Immortal Gu. Author's note. Actually, it was the influence of Heaven's will. Until recently, he finally obtained Blood Asset Immortal Gu from trading with Langya Land Spirit. Actually, Fang Yuan did not want to start his Blood Path cultivation so early. Any Blood Path Gu immortal would be detected by Heavenly Court and be listed on the Demon Judgment Board. Blood Path was very harmful. Even demonic cultivators did not like them. Everyone wanted to exterminate them. When Fang Yuan obtained Blood Asset Immortal Gu, he thought, the less I use it, the better. But situations were unpredictable. During the tribulation, he encountered Domination Immortal Chu Du. His life was at stake. He had to use Blood Asset Immortal Gu to create the Immortal Killer move to seal the gap in the aperture wall. When healing himself, Fang Yuan also used a Blood Path Killer move. Only this healing technique could heal his injuries rapidly and allow him to defend against the huge threat of Chu Du. Fang Yuan did not want to ask for more help from Langya Land Spirit. The more he exposed, the higher the chances of leaking information. Fang Yuan had reserved some information from Langya Land Spirit. He concealed the biggest secret of Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Fang Yuan was a Blood Path Grandmaster. With his 500 years of deep accumulation, it was easy to modify Blood Path Mortal Killer moves into Immortal Killer moves. It was a natural process. It was unlike He Lu Lan in the past, who faced so much difficulty in elevating Self-Strength Phantom to immortal level that in fact, he had created many Blood Path Immortal Gu recipes in his previous life. But because his Refinement Path and Wisdom Path attainment levels were too low, he could not continue on those deductions. They were very incomplete. After retrieving Blood Asset Immortal Gu, Fang Yuan thought to himself, 3 days have passed. Chu Du did not attack. It seems he has no methods to break into the immortal aperture. 3 days ago, Fang Yuan paid a huge price of getting heavily injured to seal the aperture wall's gap, causing Chu Du's plan to fail. If Chu Du had any methods, he would have used them already, but 3 days had passed. Even if some methods needed time for preparation, they would not take 3 days. Thus, Fang Yuan surmised that Chu Du had no options. This was not strange. After an immortal aperture is placed in the 5 regions, as long as the entrance was not open, they would shrink into a tiny spot and be undetectable. Outsiders could not break in. Back then, when Immortal Crane sect attacked to Immortal Blessed Land, they had to use Fang Jing's bloodline as a connection to use blood path methods and sensing where the Blessed Land was. Chu Du was a Strength Path Gu Immortal, while methods to pierce into immortal apertures involved Space Path. Fang Yuan guessed correctly, but he did not relax as a result. Even though Chu Du could not break into the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, he could stay behind and guard this area. This was an expected situation. Thinking from his perspective, As the strength path Gu immortal Chu Du who wanted to obtain reckless savage's true meaning desperately. Would he ever give up such a huge opportunity? In the past, when facing Lu tribe, a super force, Chu Du did not leave and stayed outside their headquarters until Lu tribe's first supreme elder fought with him. Fang Yuan was alone. How could he compare to Lu tribe? Even if he added in Langya blessed land, it could not match Lu tribe. Those hairy Mangu immortals had negligible battle strength. Furthermore, even if Chu Du could not break the aperture walls, he could find others to help. It seems that I am trapped here for now. If I collect my immortal aperture and use sword escape, can I escape from Chu Du's pursuit? Fang Yuan shook his head. Sword escape, immortal Gu might be fast, but it flies in a straight line. I would need to stop if I want to change directions. This is a major flaw. Against ordinary Gu immortals, it would work, but against domination immortal, it is not enough. I need at least an immortal killer move. While thinking, Fang Yuan flew below the first layer of the heavens. When he got to the part of the sky where he was undergoing tribulation, the snow monsters sensed Fang Yuan and growled at him. Ancient snow monsters even raised their hands, throwing huge snowballs at him. After sighing, Fang Yuan had no choice but to leave. The earthly calamity is over, but these snow monsters are still around. I have to ignore them for now. In any case, this immortal aperture has nothing for them to destroy. I have sword escape immortal Gu, but my sword path attainment level is too low. There is more hope in blood path methods. Next, I should modify mortal killer moves and create a blood path immortal killer move, using blood asset immortal Gu as the core for use in movement. Chapter 1059. Dog shit splits luck. Western Desert, on a certain trail. Kill these bastards. The money is all ours. Let's rob them. Guards, defend us. If these goods are lost, the clan will not let us off. Sounds of fighting could be heard. Around a sandy dune, a group of bandits and caravan members were fighting in an intense battle. This bandit group had been committing crimes in the desert for a long time. They were all human Gu masters. They were fierce and experienced in battle. They were quite strong to eye in the merchant caravan. There were few humans. They were mostly feathermen. A portion of this group of featherman Gu masters were standing on the ground guarding the goods, while some were flying in the sky, fighting the bandits. Waves of fiery attacks were unleashed. The temperature was rising. At times, wind blades were shot out, cutting the trail or directly into people, causing bloodshed. Western Desert was flourishing with fire path and wind path Gu worms. Gu masters of these two paths were most common. After a moment, the bandits had the upper hand. They suffered little loss. But the merchant caravan was already heavy with casualties. Han Li was lying in a pile of goods. His body was covered in blood. His face was charred. He had been hit by a wind blade earlier during the intense battle. There was a deep and long injury on his chest. It was still bleeding. His face was charred because a fire pellet had exploded around him. The hot debris had slammed into his face. Damn it. Am I going to die here today? The battle scene had Han Li feel despair. He had started his cultivation journey after much difficulties, becoming a Gu master by chance. But he was chased out and could only be a vagrant to survive. He joined this caravan as a member, but to think that such a merchant caravan would still be targeted by bandits. Run. This merchant caravan is finished. I am not going to die with them. Smart people will run with me. These feathermen are finished. Even if they return alive, they will be executed by the clan. The loss was assured. The merchant caravan members started to escape for themselves. They were all human Gu masters employed to be guards. These fellows. Ignore them. Conserve our primeval essence. Even if we die, we will die fighting. The featherman Gu masters gritted their teeth, saying angrily, "How can this be?" Han Li was dazed. He was very young and inexperienced. He could not react to the fact that these human Gu masters were escaping. "Why are you not running?" A featherman Gu master walked over and saw Han Li. Han Li gasped. He did not know what to do. He knew who this featherman Gu master was. He was the leader of the caravan. Even though your cultivation level is low, in some ways, you are far superior to those escaping humans. The featherman leader sighed. Before patting Han Li's shoulder, his hand flashed with light. He patted Han Li's shoulder 3 times. His injuries healed at once. Amazing. This is the might of a rank for Gu master. Han Li was shocked. He wanted to express his gratitude, but the Featherman leader had already charged into the battlefield. The front lines were in a critical state already. The Featherman leader had to join the fight. Once the rank 4 Gu master attacked, the bandits suffered huge losses. Many fell off their horses. Among the bandit group, there were rank 4 experts too, but they were sitting at the back, watching coldly with icy smiles on their faces. The Featherman leader quickly controlled the battlefield. He killed many enemies. Hanli watched with much enthusiasm, while the other Feathermen praised loudly. But the Featherman leader's state of mind was turning grim. He knew that the enemy was ruthless. They were using cannon fodder to waste his primeval essence. When the true bandit experts appear, he would have less primeval essence. He would be at a disadvantage. Whoosh! At this time, wind could be heard from afar. The wind was huge and grand, like the howling of a desolate beast. Everyone looked over, as someone shouted, "Oh no! It is a golden thread tornado." The tornadoes in Western Desert were split into golden thread, silver thread, bronze thread, and so on, in decreasing order of strength. Golden thread tornadoes were the strongest. Even a rank 4 Gu master would perish if they got trapped in them. The Feathermen panicked. The bandits also panicked. Like gunpowder that had been ignited, they shouted loudly as they charged towards the caravan. They wanted to take down the merchant caravan before the golden thread tornado appeared, to take the precious goods and leave. "Hold on," the Featherman leader shouted. Even though the tornado was dangerous, and Featherman Gu masters would still likely die in it, they were able to naturally fly. They would be in a much better situation than the humans. This intense battle reached the climax. Every moment, people lost their lives. Hanli was hiding in between the goods as he defended them. He had low cultivation level. He was not a significant target. The bandits did not think of him as a threat. Hanli was indeed not a threat when his primeval essence was expended. He was no different from a powerless mortal. Few of the fire pellets and wind blades hit Hanli, because he was near the goods, and both parties did not want to ruin the goods. The tornado moved quickly. It was still far away earlier, but now, it was already close to the battlefield. Winds howled, sand flew in the air. When hitting against Hanli's body, he felt numb and pain. "Retreat." Even though he was unwilling, the astute bandit leader called out, choosing to retreat. The bandits moved like the wind. Even though they were injured and had blood-red eyes, they left quickly. "Quickly, move these goods away." The Featherman leader had severe injuries, but he still placed his focus on the goods first. The Feathermen quickly saved the goods. Nobody cared about Hanli. The tornado assaulted. Hanli could not save himself. He was sucked into it. Many Feathermen and large amounts of goods followed after him. Hanli was swept into the tornado. His vision was spinning. He could not tell which direction he was facing. He was like a flower, flying along with the raging winds. He was in danger of dying. Bam! He did not know whether he had hit a rock or some goods, but he fainted at once. After a long time, he slowly woke up. "Young man, you are finally awake." An old man was sitting beside him, speaking faintly. "You? Who are you?" Hanli was still in a daze. He looked around and realized that he was lying on sand. There were rocks, corpses, and goods scattered around him. "The tornado stopped? I survived?" Hanli was stunned before bursting out in joy. "If I did not save you, how could you survive?" The old man smiled. "Thank you, senior, for saving my life." Hanli quickly paid respects, sincerely expressing his gratitude. The old man nodded in appreciation. "Back in the day, before becoming an immortal, I was just like you. Today, the tornado that you got swept into was caused by me. I lost my bet with Tianjin after all. Before dying, I will impart the true inheritance of my entire life to you." Central Continent, inside Broken Sword Valley. "Where is Sword Chi Gu?" "Chase. This Sword Chi Gu is mine. Don't think of snatching it away." A group of Gu masters were shouting. They formed into a stream of people as they charged into the valley. "Lad, don't block us. Anyone who gets in our way will die." Hong Yi was outside of Broken Sword Valley when he saw a group of frenzied Gu masters charging towards him. Among them were rank 3 and 4 experts. Hong Yi's expression paled. He quickly escaped as he moved out of their way that a group of Gu masters whipped a dust storm, running past Hong Yi's body rapidly. What? What is going on?" Hong Yi muttered. His heart was still pounding. Listening to a conversation among some people passing by explained the situation to him. I heard there is a rank 4 sword Chi-gu. No wonder so many people are going after it. Let's go quickly. We might be able to encounter a rank 4 sword Chi-gu. Wishful thinking. How long has it been since this broken sword valley was created? There might be only one rank 4 sword Chi-gu. Don't even think about it. Sword Chi-gu rank 4. Hong Yi's heart shook. A look of envy appeared on his face. He quickly ran into the valley. He had explored this valley before, but earlier, it was not like this. Yes, it turned out. Before the Battle of Etion Mountain, when immortal zombie Bo Ching awakened, he had shot out countless sword lights from under falling heavenly river. One sword light landed here, cutting this mountain into two, creating the shape of this valley. This was the origin of Broken Sword Valley. Initially, people did not pay attention to it, but soon, Central Continent Gu Masters realized that this valley was producing wild sword path Gu worms. Yes, it turned out, the sword light was not ordinary. Every sword light contained sword path Dao marks. After the sword light landed here, sword path Dao marks were carved into the valley. A special location was created, and many wild sword path Gu worms were slowly produced here. This fact could not be concealed. More and more Gu Masters came here to find treasures. Earlier, a rank 4 sword Chi-gu was found by someone, creating a huge commotion for everyone. Rank 4 wild Gu worms are extremely rare. Even if I encounter one, I would not be able to catch it. It is too dangerous. Hong Yi thought as he carefully explored this valley. He moved away from the crowd. In an ordinary-looking location, he saw something shocking. It was a common caterpillar molting. But the thing was, the caterpillar's skin was shining. Hong Yi was stunned before recognizing this scene. He was overjoyed. Such luck. I actually came during the moment when the insect becomes a Gu. This aura it is emitting is so strong. Is it rank 4 or rank 5? Hong Yi could not wait for the caterpillar to finish molting. He quickly grabbed it in his hands. He immediately moved away to a safer location, activating his primeval essence and refining it. A moment later, he succeeded in refining it. He obtained a very strange rank 5 sword path Gu worm. It was black and palm-sized. It looked like a miniature sword sheath of iron. Rank 5 sword sheath Gu. What's the use of this Gu? Even though I obtained a rank 5 Gu, my primeval essence can't activate it. Hong Yi sighed to himself, when suddenly he saw a sword path Gu worm coming out of a bush near him. It flew slowly towards him and entered the sword sheath Gu in his hand. Hong Yi was shocked. At once he was speechless. Southern border, on a nameless small mountain. It was night time. A huge rainstorm was pouring down. Shang Xnci, your life ends here today. A muscular man walked towards the peak with his arms behind his back. There were 3 Gu Masters defending themselves. 1 male, 2 females. 1 female Gu Master was heavily injured. She was Shang Xinci's servant, Xiaolan. The other female Gu Master had long, silky black hair flowing like a waterfall. Her skin was white like snow. She was extremely beautiful. It was Shang Xinci. Seeing the person approaching, Shang Xinci smiled bitterly. Shang Baishi, to think that it was really you. Why do you need to fight to the death with me? Shang Baishi laughed loudly. Father died. Elder brother died. Chao Feng also died. As long as I kill you, 8th brother will ascend to the position of Shang clan leader. Thus, you must die today. Shang Xinci heard these words, and her body shook. She almost fell to the ground, as if an invisible force had pushed her. She said in a mournful tone, for the position of clan leader, Shang Pu Lao is truly so cold-hearted and cruel? Shang Baishi smiled coldly. Yes, you saved 8th brother's life before, but so what? You want him to repay you with kindness and hand over the position of clan leader? Humph, Shang clan leader has authority over the entire city. You have undue benevolence. How can you compete with 8th brother? Shang Xinci shook her head. When I saved him, I did not think of fighting for the position of clan leader. Exactly. That is why you are in this state right now. Ha ha. Shang Baishi continued. Lady Xinci, what's the need to talk to this scumbag? Yi Fan was frowning. His tone expressed his utter hatred and disgust towards Shang Baishi. Young Master Yi, you should leave. He only wants my life. I will give it to him. You are not involved in this. Don't interfere. Quickly leave. Shang Xinci pushed Yi Fan's back, urging him to leave. I will not go. Yi Fan shouted. Lady Xinci, you were the one who saved me. A droplet received in need will be repaid with a whole spring. How can I abandon you? How touching. But you won't be able to leave even if you want to. Today, all three of you will die. Shang Xinci, you are still so naive. If I do not kill all of you, wouldn't the survivors tarnish Eighth Brother's reputation in the future? Shang Baishi said as he got closer. Yi Fan gritted his teeth. Even though he was heavily injured and could not stand straight, he stood in front of Shang Xinci. A brave man. Shang Baishi commented, before pushing as Yi Fan fell to the ground. If you were in your peak condition, I would have to be wary of you. But your primeval essence has been used up. You are no threat. Ha ha. Shang Baishi laughed as he approached Shang Xinci. Shang Xinci shut her eyes, giving up any futile resistance. Before dying, in the depths of her heart, the figure of a man appeared. One thought emerged in her mind. If I could see him one last time before dying, how good would that be? But even after waiting for a while, she did not feel Shang Baishi's attack. Shang Xinci opened her eyes in confusion. She only saw that Shang Baishi was some steps in front of her, not moving at all. He was stiff as a statue. An expression of fear was frozen on his face. For simply some authority and wealth, you disregarded kinship. You are truly a disgrace to Shang clan. A female immortal appeared. You are? Shang Xinci was shocked. The female immortal looked at Shang Xinci with approval, saying warmly, "Don't be afraid. I am an ancestor of Shang clan, Shang Qingqing. I have decided, from now onwards, you will assume the role of Shang clan leader." Chapter 1060, Pot River, Luck Inspection. Pot River resembled a long jade belt. It was situated in the eastern area of central continent. The water in Pot River was smooth flowing. Like a beautiful song, it was graceful and harmonious. Ing Wuxie stood on the bank of Pot River as he waited for Feng Chanzi. Meanwhile, He Lulan, Shirnu, and Tai Bai Yunsheng were hiding nearby, protecting Ing Wuxie's safety. The river water flowed slowly. Two dragonflies were flying above the river, landing on the pot grass nearby at times. There was a lot of pot grass growing in Pot River. This type of grass was deeply rooted in the soil below the river, drawing in nutrients. They were long and thin. The tip of the grass emerged above the river surface. The tip of one of the stalks of pot grass had a brown fruit. This fruit was still fist-sized. It was not mature now. The fruit was empty inside and was not tightly closed. The tip was opened widely. At this moment, a dragonfly followed the smell of the fruit and entered the fruit rashly. It struggled for a moment, but it was captivated by the intense aroma. It did not fly out again. Ing Wuxie watched silently. He knew. In a few months, more fruits would grow. The fruits would get larger. They would attract more insects, and even fish and prawns. As they grow, the fruit would close up eventually. And when they fully mature, the tips of the pot grass would look like brown pots, tightly sealed. And next, Pot River's annual flood season would come. During the flood season, Pot River would no longer be calm. Water would move rapidly, sweeping all of the pot grass away. All these brown fruits would travel in the river, leaving their origins and floating away. On the two sides of the river, Goo Masters would start to haul up all of these fruits. After smashing them, they could obtain the fish and insects inside, as well as some seeds of the pot grass. There was also a chance of getting goo worms from them. These goo worms were sleeping in the pot grass. They could be easily refined. A super force of the 10 great ancient sects, Wind Cloud Manor, was in charge in Pot River. During this time every year, they would hold a festival around Pot River. Countless goo masters would be drawn here, of all ages and genders, not just Wind Cloud Manor's disciples, but even all the surrounding forces would join in the festive season. Ing Wuxie looked at the pot grass in the river. His gaze began drifting elsewhere. In order to get the light of the immemorial era, he had already stayed in Pot River for some time. On the surface, he was calm and peaceful, but a lot of frustration was building up inside him, and this feeling was getting stronger as time continued to pass. I have spring-autumn cicada, but it is sealed now and is unusable. Before I refine it again, I will be watched by Heaven's will. Not only can Heaven's will influence my emotions stealthily, it can even plot and influence others to attack me. I cannot give Heaven's will any time to prepare. I cannot stay at the same spot for a long time. If Feng Chanzi does not show up again, I have to give up on this. Ing Wuxia made up his mind to AT this time. A green figure flew rapidly along the surface of Pot River towards Ing Wuxia. It is that rank 6 level grass puppet avatar. Be alert, stay wary of any unexpected surprises. Shadow sects immortals transmitted, focusing their minds. The grass puppet avatar saw Ing Wuxia and said arrogantly, "The light of the immemorial era is with me. But Master said that the earlier price will not do. You have to pay an extra 30% on that basis." What? Another 30%? This is extortion. This Feng Chanzi really dares to raise it. The price was already very high. With another 30%, it is exorbitant. Nu and Tai by Yunsheng discussed. Ing Wuxia was also furious, but there was no choice. He needed the light of the immemorial era. To refine fixed immortal travel, the light of the immemorial era was needed. There were no alternatives. After staying silent for a while, Ing Wuxia nodded. "I'll agree to it." The grass puppet avatar snorted. "Then let's trade." Ing Wuxia was already prepared amply. Both sides transacted quickly. The grass puppet avatar counted the amount before showing a satisfied expression. Ing Wuxia suffered a huge loss. He paid a great price, but he had finally obtained the light of the immemorial era. He was overall still pleased with it. He smiled at the grass puppet avatar. "It has been a pleasant transaction. We should trade again some other time." The grass puppet avatar said, "Humph, again? That depends on my master's mood. Actually, earlier, master did not want to trade, but he had lost a bet to Lang Ziqiu some time ago. He wants to recoup his losses, so I came. You must remember this. My master definitely did not give the light of the immemorial era to you." I understand. Actually, your manor has a huge inventory. It is truly a sea of treasure. Just a bit of the light of the immemorial era, what could it affect? Nobody would notice for sure. Ing Wuxia said politely. "Enough, this matter is over. Quickly leave now. We cannot stay here for long." The grass puppet avatar said before leaving. Even without its reminder, Ing Wuxia was already ready to leave, concealing their traces. After flying for 100,000 li, Shadow Sects group landed in a nameless forest, resting and recovering. Just now, even though we obtained the light of the immemorial era, Feng Chanzi's price was too high. We paid too much. To refine fixed immortal travel, we still need other supplementary immortal materials. Nu said, "Thankfully, the light of the immemorial era is already obtained. The following matters are easier to solve. We can make use of Defy." Tai by Yunsheng suggested. "The important thing is, how many refinements can you do with this portion of the light of the immemorial era?" He Lulan got to the point immediately. When Gu Immortals refined Immortal Gu, just one batch of immortal materials was not enough. Disregarding the hairy man heaven and earth style, and just looking at the human isolation style, the chances of refining a rank 6 immortal Gu were often less than 1%. Theoretically, Ing Wuxia and others should have prepared 100 portions of materials. But after experimentation, reality was even more cruel, because the success rate was not just dependent on the amount of immortal materials. Many times, even with more than 100 portions of immortal materials, one can still fail the refinement. This portion of light of the immemorial era can last for 9 refinement attempts. Ing Wuxia said as he paused that he secretly activated an immortal Gu in his body. Rank 6 Luck Inspection Immortal Gu. This immortal Gu originally belonged to Qin Bai Sheng. Coincidentally, because he needed it, Nu obtained it and used it temporarily. After the Battle of Etian Mountain, Shadow Sect failed, and this Luck Inspection Immortal Gu was transferred to Ing Wuxia. This was an investigative Gu worm that could inspect the luck of people. Ing Wuxia's eyes shone as he looked above him. His vision was very different now that a luck pillar, resembling an illusion, appeared in Ing Wuxia's eyes. Ing Wuxia was taken aback. Why did my luck improve so much out of nowhere? He had already inspected his own luck long ago. It was very bad. And because of spring-autumn cicada's drawback, his luck was continuing to decrease. But now, it was much better than his initial assessment. Don't tell me. A thought flashed in Ing Wuxia's mind that he thought of Fang Yuan. He also thought of the self-luck true inheritance in Langya land spirit's hands. Earlier, Shadow sect invaded Langya land spirit and took a portion of refinement cauldron. We even destroyed dogshit luck immortal goo accidentally. Langya land spirit was preparing to refine it once again, and it just so happens that he succeeded recently. Perhaps he has already lent dogshit luck to Fang Yuan. Ing Wuxie felt that this was the most likely possibility that a few days ago, he was informed that Fang Yuan had passed his tribulation, because Shadow Sect still had one hairy man goo immortal traitor left inside Langya blessed land. That must be it. Originally, Fang Yuan connected his luck to several people, splitting it equally. After the Battle of Etian Mountain, my body is Fang Yuan's, while he still has his soul. Both involve the connected luck. When he uses dogshit luck immortal goo to improve his own luck, it will flow down like water, going towards Yi Fan, Han Li, Hong Yi, and He Lu Lan. And these 4 people have luck connected to my body. Thus, I also benefited from it. No wonder I waited so long earlier with no results and slim hopes. But now, Feng Chanzi suddenly lost a bet to Lang Ziqiu and needs capital. Thus he transacted with me, and I obtained the light of the immemorial era. After thinking about it, Ing Wuxie found out about Fang Yuan's immense value. His immortal aperture has to undergo tribulation every 2 months. He must have used dogshit luck to increase his luck and decrease the might of the earthly calamity. This way, I can benefit from it. I do not need to go to northern plains and find longevity heaven to borrow luck. Even though he knows that this would strengthen his enemies, he has no choice. Because the calamities and tribulations of the sovereign immortal aperture far exceed logic, he has to do everything he can to survive every crisis. However, he chose to undergo tribulation in the northern icy plain. It was truly a wise move. Heaven's will is targeting him, trying to get rid of him. It would definitely strengthen the earthly calamity. But undergoing tribulation in the northern icy plain, reckless savage's true meaning replaced a portion of heaven's will. It greatly reduced the danger. I hope you can survive this. I will reclaim your body one day. After staying in the nameless forest for a while, Ing Wuxie and the others moved off on their journey again. Ing Wuxie was moving quickly, but he was pressed for time. Not only because his main body's remnant soul was stuck in the dream realm, facing great danger all the time, he had to make use of this good luck to refine fixed immortal travel, because the chances of success would be much higher. Northern plains, northern icy plain. Master, how long must we stay here? The newly advanced strength path rank 6 Gu immortal asked meekly. Chu Du stood on the icy plain. He looked at the handprint that he had created on the ground. Sighing, he did not answer his disciple. He fell into deep regret. I was too rash earlier. Why did I attack him without thinking? Since he knows the method to draw out reckless savage's true meaning, it will not be easy for me to get this method, regardless of whether it is an immortal killer move or an immortal goo house. Even if I kill him, I need to prevent his soul from self-detonating. Otherwise, it will all be for nothing. I would lose this immense opportunity to gain strength. I needed to act more carefully, at least. I should have been polite before resorting to brute force. Right now, the other party has fixed the gap and is hiding in the immortal aperture. That place is easy to defend but hard to attack. I have no methods to break in. It is not too late to salvage the situation. Maybe I can talk to him, right? I still have his sword path immortal goo with me. This is a negotiation chip.